Glad you asked. First of all, yeah! That's enough, Detective Sky. I believe Miss Athena Sykes now understand how atropine works. Would you agree, Miss Athena Sykes? Actually, yeah. I tried to warn you. None of you know how to appreciate good science. And it's Investigator Sky now. Alright, I think we've heard enough about this statement. Witness, your next statement, please. I'm getting to it. Report on the scene, call the police, yeah, press. This reporter, if I remember right, you're talking about, yeah, that guy, Spark Brushel. Unfortunately, yes. I just wish it didn't have to be him, you know? That guy, Spark Brushel, he's like considered to be one of the worst side characters of the entire series, right? I remember him being really ridiculous. Like, I guess he's supposed to be comic relief, but I don't remember anything like dramatic about him, like the first guy from the final case of the original Phoenix Wright Attorney. That is case 1-4, not 1-5, that was added on the DS remake. More than you believe. I take it you have had to make another attempt to hold a conversation with him? Yeah, when I told him he'd have to testify again, he just wouldn't stop rattling off weird headlines. Sheesh, that's one testimony I'm not looking forward to. Apollo, the witness can't possibly be that bad. Oh, but he is, Athena. Assuming Prosecutor Von Karma has him testify, you'll see. Ugh. If you insist. Anyway, I want to know a little more about the evidence that convinced you to arrest Vera. Ah, yes. Well, Vera, not Spark, knew the victim, lived with the victim, and made coffee with him. Of course, it was her father. Satisfied? Well, to be honest, no, not really. Good, neither am I. But I'm no prosecutor, so I don't decide who goes to court and who doesn't. I just state the facts. Your Honor, disregard the witness's remarks. The prosecution in no way shares or agrees with her skewed perspective of the case. Glad to hear it. Witness, in the future, stick to the facts instead of adding your own personal commentary. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. Does the judge even realize how much he's favoring the prosecution? Honestly, I don't think so, but I'm not sure if it makes things any better. Anyway, after we arrested Vera, we had to have a trial, of course. How exactly was Vera poisoned in the middle of her own trial? Wasn't she in custody? What on earth are you asking me for? Weren't you there? What? No, I mean, yes, I was there. I'm just asking for the cross-examination. Sheesh, calm down. There's no need to get all worked up, Apollo. I was just teasing. Gee, thanks. Now I feel like a respectable lawyer instead of a high school student. Not. To recap, Vera was poisoned through her nail polish, which at the time was laced with atroquinine, okay? The prosecution maintains that she laced the polish herself in order to commit suicide. What about you, Emma? What do you think happened? Yeah, just on cue, Von Karma. Once again, Mr. Apollo, Justice, the detective is here to state the facts as they are, not the facts as you wish them to be. The defense takes issue with the implications of that statement. Withdrawn. Nonetheless, Mr. Apollo Justice, I will object again if you press the matter. Am I clear? Like a summer's day, Miss Von Karma. Oh, if that's cleared up, I believe we can move on. Witness, carry on with your testimony. The jurist declared her not guilty. Vera survived and Gavin was indicted for a second murder. Was Gavin ever convicted of the murder of Drew Misham? No, Gavin dragged out the appeals process like you wouldn't believe. The theatrics involved are what got the attention of the jury system congressional committee. He then asked to be allowed to testify before them. They let him, and he convinced them all to reject. What? Did they not smell the crazy coming off of him? What I don't understand is why the boss never mentioned this before. Yeah, I mean, he was probably testifying before the committee a lot since he designed the system. I just don't understand how we could have not noticed. Athena, what's up? I just thought of a way to get our evidence back. Really? Well, go for it. Investigator Sky, can you tell us why the jurist declared Vera Misham not guilty? I don't see why not. Well, according to interviews after the verdict was given, one of the more... Your Honor, that was a clear attempt by the defense to bring up evidence from the Misham trial. Evidence that, according to your ruling, is not to be admitted. Why, Miss Von Karma, you're right! Shame on you, Miss Sykes, for trying to pull a fast one like your mentor. Seriously? She should not be able to just do that. I don't know what to tell you, Tena. She just did. I think that's more or less everything I want to go over. There's not really anything left to talk about. The facts of the case aren't about to change after all. It's the next testimony I really need to watch out for. The defense is satisfied with what it's heard, Your Honor. Thank you for testifying, Investigator Sky. Heh, Investigator. I really do like the sound of that title. Anyway, I'm out of here. Good luck, Apollo. Yeah, I think that's all we're going to be seeing of Emma. From what I've heard, her appearance in the 6th game is also kind of brief. Well, I must say, I think that went rather smoothly, eh? It certainly did go very smoothly. Mr. Apollo Justice? You're not giving up already, are you? Huh? No, of course not. I just didn't see any contradictions to that testimony. Further cross-examination wasn't necessary. You're smarter than you look. I'll give you that. Wait. Do I not look smart? I was just checking to make sure you were putting forth an effort. I want this to be a proper vengeance, Mr. Apollo Justice. One that will serve as a lesson for both you and the contemptible Mr. Phoenix Wright! Revenge. You keep talking about revenge, and what's this lesson supposed to be about? What has Mr. Wright done to you? What indeed, Mr. Apollo Justice? What indeed? Is she going to keep doing that pausey thing instead of actually answering any of our questions? Mr. Apollo Justice, have you really not figured out what my vengeance is about? Have my words really failed to penetrate that abnormally large forehead of yours? It's not that large. Hey! Well, I will tell you exactly what my revenge is for and what my lesson is all about. Pride, Mr. Apollo Justice. For the first time in his pathetic life, Wright lost, and he had the gall to break the system as vengeance. I am here today to show Mr. Phoenix Wright exactly what the price of such deadly pride is. I will break him in exactly the same way he tried to break the justice system. Alright, Miss Von Karma, if you say so. Regardless, we have a trial to run. Is your next witness ready to testify, Miss Von Karma? The prosecution requests a 10-minute recess. My witness will be prepared in that time. Very well, we will now have a 10-minute recess. Court is adjourned. In case any of you have never played any Phoenix Wright game or watched a Let's Play of it, yeah, this is how every case goes. The judge is always in the prosecutor's side. It's always set up against us. And there's tons of stuff that wouldn't really work in the real world that works in the game, you know? Ugh. So far, so good, I guess. Nice job, Apollo. The trial's going pretty smoothly, I think. It just started. I guess. Sure, we haven't been kicked out in the teeth. Sure, we haven't been kicked in the teeth yet. We haven't done anything to disprove the charges. Yeah. Vera, how are you holding up so far? I think the detective was trying to be nice to me. I think I like that. Yeah, I guess so. Emma knows you didn't do it, and I'm sure she was trying to tell the judge that. Except crazy prosecutor Von Karma was basically about ready to whip her every time she tried. Sorry. But, yeah, Emma's a friend. I know you and her probably didn't start off on the best foot. When I first met her, she was arresting me. Well, yeah, but I think the verdict at your first trial convinced her you were innocent. And the verdict of this trial will convince everyone. Right, keeping it down, keeping it down. Hey, holding down the fort all right? You might say that, but then you might be lying. Wait, why do you even need to ask? You were just in there with us. Yeah, well, something interesting could have happened right after I left. Did something like that happen? Well, yes, something did. Knew it. Prosecutor Von Karma always did have a flair for the dramatic. Say, Apollo, where's Vera? Hey, Vera, how are you feeling today? Well, I think I've been better, but I've also been worse. Ha, very good point, Vera. But hang in there, alright? I know you may not think so, and I didn't see it at first, but you're made of something tough, Vera. It takes real guts to survive something like atrocanine poisoning. Thanks. I'll do my best to stay strong. Glad to hear it. And Apollo? Yeah? I'm counting on you to kick some German bun for me. Capice? You got it. This has to be the weirdest favor I'm ever gonna do for a friend. Anyway, I'm off. A lot of forensics to do and not enough time to do it in. Am I right or am I right? Whatever you say, Emma. See ya. See ya. Well, I guess it's almost time to head back in. Say, what are you up to, Athena? Hmm? Oh! It's nothing, really. I was just checking out Miss Von Karma's emotions. Alright, I guess. But it's not like we have to cross-examine or anything. Hey, I'm allowed to be curious, aren't I? Well, yeah, but... never mind. Although, speaking of Von Karma, I can't say I understand what she has against the jury system. Me neither. It's weird, really. She doesn't seem to think it was an improvement. But that doesn't make sense. The news I saw about it when I came back to America was so positive. Yeah, everyone saw how effective the system was. It was rendering justice possible in the first trial. Now, well, we just need to hang in for a little longer so we can see an opportunity and then take it. But I can't help but wonder, what if... What if what, Apollo? What if Von Karma's right? I'm not saying the justice system is a bad idea or anything, that's not it. What if she's right about Mr. Wright's motive? What if it really was all for revenge? I don't buy it. Seems like too much trouble for revenge. I think people only do that much for just goals. I'm not sure about that. Gavin went to some pretty extreme lengths for his revenge. But I guess it doesn't matter right now. We should focus on watching for a chance to turn this around. Entonces vamos, Apollo. Let's do your friend proud and kick some German bun. Guess there's not much else to do in this situation. Alright, let's do this. Vera will be acquitted. Here comes justice! Court is now in session again for the trial of Vera Misham. Ms. Von Karma, is your witness now ready? Yes, Your Honor. The witness has been thoroughly prepared and is now ready to bear testimony. Excellent. Would the prosecution's witness please come up to the stand? If this is who I think it is, I can't decide if I should feel ready or not. With my luck, maybe I should settle on not. God damn it. Witness, state your name and occupation. Name and occupation? Are we really doing this again? Well, alright. The name is Spark Brushel, and the occupation is freelance journalist. Your Honor, the witness was on the scene at the time of the victim's death. He also was the person who contacted the police after the victim's death. Thus, he is our best witness for establishing the events as they took place that day. Yep, that's me, lone observer of the world. End quote. I can smell the mint all the way from over here. Apollo. Yeah, Tana? You were right earlier, he is that bad. Yeah, Brushel, he's Brushel. There's not much more that anyone can say about him. Witness, the court is now ready to hear your testimony. Testimony? Oh, yes, that's right. I'll testify quickly. I need to get back to writing my scoop on the case. The year-old scoop, you mean? Is he delusional or something? None of this case qualifies as news. No, not that scoop. Not Starfall Star dies, Drew dies. End quote. I'm talking about the one that's new. You know, news. Fortune attorney turned innocent attorney turned vengeful attorney. End quote. Ah! Mr. Spark Brushel, that's enough nonsense. I demand that you give your testimony. Now! Innocent reporter assaulted by a brat of a prosecutor, physically and verbally. End quote. Excuse me? Ah! End quote. Mr. Spark Brushel, just testify already. Roving reporter never more ready. End quote. A year ago, I landed an exclusive scoop with Drew Misham, the artist/forger/murder victim. Once I arrived on the scheduled date, Drew and I were served coffee by his daughter. Forger takes a sip of poison brew and in an instant dies, end quote. Oh, that's it? Oh, that was brief. So the defendant poisoned the victim's coffee, eh? Exactly! But now, after all this time, that's old news. It's news to me. Was I the only one who heard the verdict last year? I know what I saw. Blast from the... Mr. Apollo Justice, get this cross-examination over with as quickly as you can so we may be finished. If I hear one more foolish headline, I can't promise I'll be able to keep my temper. Understood, Mr. Apollo Justice? Although she spoke with a male voice right there. What? To miss that. Contrary to the impression you seem to be under, Mr. Apollo Justice, I will not be mocked. Am I clear? As polished glass, Miss Francisca von Karma. Good, Mr. Apollo Justice. If everything's cleared up down there, I'd like to get on with the cross-examination. Of course, Your Honor. Brushel's testimony doesn't reveal anything new, in which so little evidence... Hey, Apollo, you holding up? Yeah, I just... don't like the direction the trial is going. No, not really. I would have objected a dozen times already, but Von Karma took away all of our evidence. And without that evidence, we don't have much of a case. We barely have a leg to stand on. That Von Karma. You gotta admit, though, it was a clever maneuver. Clever maneuver? What was? Blocking all our evidence, I mean. It's a cheap move, but thinking about it, she has a point about the corruption in the original trial. What's up with you, Apollo? You weren't like this in the beginning. I feel like Mr. Wright was only trying to do the right thing, but he did bend rules and pull strings. You know what? Maybe this case will go in an interesting direction, have an interesting ending. Because I'm starting to see what the writer was doing with Apollo right here. In retrospect, it's kind of surprising we didn't end up having to deal with this sooner. I guess. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. Mr. Justice, Miss Sykes, this is a courtroom, not a high school. I'd say that's quite enough chit-chat between the two of you. Sorry, Your Honor, I was just, consulting with my co-counsel. Why does that sound so much less convincing than it should? Well, it looks to me like you've finished. Let's get started on your cross-examination. A year ago, I landed... Well, I already seen this. Press. When you say murder victim, you of course refer to the victim's status after the murder, right? Oh, because if you're talking about what the victim was known for before the murder took place, then we have a serious contradiction on our hands. Mr. Apollo Justice, the answer to your question is yes. Why on earth would Mr. Spark Brushel attempt to interview a man known for being a murder victim? He would be dead. Right. Can you tell us more about how you got this exclusive scoop? Well, early bird gets the worm, but a persistent bird gets bigger. End quote. Is it too much to ask for you to make sense? Headline could use some work, huh? There is some predicate ambiguity, I guess. Alright. Reporter asks and asks and asks, and then finally gets answer. End quote. So you just kept asking for an interview, and then he finally gave you one? Exactly! After the first 5 years of that, I'll be honest, I stopped expecting an answer to my calls. But I just kept calling until the victim finally gave in and let you calling until Don't do that again. Okay. Reporter sees that he took it too far. End quote. Let's just forget that happened and move on with the cross-examination, shall we? Let's... Oh, goodness gracious. I can't keep this up with this character. He talks too much. By daughter, do you mean the defendant, Vera Misham? Does Drew have any other daughters? No. Well then, there's your answer. Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. End quote. Hey now, that was just mean. Apollo was only double checking. Wise man once said truth, hurts and wasn't wrong. End quote. Is a wacky headline your defense for any accusation? Reporter under attack. Ops do not fix if it ain't broke. End quote. Your Honor, the defense is clearly badgering the witness. Whether or not the witness is being respectful is beside the point. All that matters is the testimony. Agreed, Miss Von Karma. Mr. Justice, I advise you to stay on topic from now on and avoid harassing the witness. Yes, Your Honor. My laugh is officially hit a new low. I can't even successfully cross-examine witnesses I've already cross-examined. Hey, Apollo, chin up. Based on what Simon's told me about Prosecutor Von Karma, you're doing pretty well, actually. Really? Really? Just keep pressing and don't let that psycho Von Karma get to you. Alright, thanks, Atena. No problem. I think this is the last one. Yeah. What do you think, Apollo? I think that maybe I'm worried too much. The contradiction is actually kind of obvious. Really? Then you should go for it. Yeah, I suppose I shouldn't have expected Brushel to be so hard to deal with. His testimony had problems the first time around and, well, that hasn't really changed. Alright then, let's press our advantage and close the book on this case once and for all. For those wondering, right here I just moved to the next, text, and that makes you go to the characters reviewing the cross-examination, or the process, whatever. Press. By that, you mean the victim, Drew Misham, collapsed and died? Yep! Right then and there. Right then and there. No time elapsed in between the act of drinking coffee and the death? Nuh-uh. And you're certain of this? Ugh! We get it, Mr. Justice. You can stop harping on the detail. Mr. Misham took one sip of a coffee and then he died. Is that so difficult to comprehend that I need to lash the knowledge into you? No, I'm alright. Good, let's move on then. Basically, I already read this, but atrocadine data. It kills 15 minutes after ingestion. How do I present? I guess I press present, and then I choose the evidence. Died instantly, you say. Are you absolutely certain of that? Yep, researchers find that your first instinct is usually right. End quote. Really? Well, that's pretty unusual, Mr. Brushel. Oh? Is it? Yes, I'm surprised you forgot. You see, Mr. Misham was poisoned using the synthetic chemical known as atrocadine. It's a slow-acting poison that takes 15 minutes to kill its victims. Do you see the problem yet, Mr. Brushel? Oh, the time elapsed. I see. That's right, Mr. Brushel. If Mr. Misham has been poisoned through the coffee, as you claim, you would have still had 15 minutes to get the interview you so badly wanted. What? But I know you're going to stand by what you said, that Mr. Misham died immediately after drinking. And there isn't any evidence that disputes that notion. It fits with Mr. Misham's autopsy. So what, then, must we conclude? The defense asserts that Mr. Misham was not poisoned by Vera through his coffee. There must have been another means of murder! Order! I will have order in this courtroom! Nice going, Apollo. Great contradiction. It was kind of easy. It was nothing, really. It was the same contradiction from his testimony last year. Not hard at all. Really? I'm surprised Miss Von Karma didn't make him change his testimony. She must have heard it. Maybe she tried to, but he wouldn't. Prosecutor Gavin tried to give Brushel suggestions, too. But Brushel refused to budge. If anything, he's at least honest in what he says outright. But what I would like to know is... Prosecutor Von Karma, how can you explain away this fatal contradiction? You can't, can you? Prosecutor Gavin sure couldn't. Never really got around to it, if I remember correctly. But she has an explanation. Yeah. Ha! Why, you foolishly foolish fool who makes foolishly foolish objections to solid testimony. You! When did I ever claim that the victim was poisoned through his coffee? What do you mean? The witness just knows— Ah! You said it yourself, Mr. Apollo Justice. The witness made the claim, not the prosecution. The prosecution acknowledges that the true murder weapon was the stamp from the defendant's desk. The stamp the victim used to mail a letter 15 minutes earlier. Yeah, I remember that. If you admit the stamp's relevance, then why is there no evidence regarding it in the court record? The defense demands that any evidence related to the stamp be submitted immediately. Need I remind you, Mr. Apollo Justice, that all the evidence is tainted? We cannot use the original trial evidence today if we want a fair verdict. Besides, the stamp itself was not in the original court record, so I couldn't even submit it if I tried. But then, even if we agree that the stamp exists, how do you plan on confirming it? Confirming that the stamp exists is quite simple, Mr. Apollo Justice. Would you like to know why? It's because I have another witness. You— What? What? How can there be another witness? What's trying to pull now? Your Honor, my witness is ready to testify this time. If you would like, I could bring him in right now. Your Honor, the defense was not aware of any other witnesses. We demand a recess for preparation. Mr. Apollo Justice, it was you who pointed out the contradiction. It was you who asked me to explain. I am only trying to facilitate the defense's right to a speedy trial by answering your query now. This court's objective is the truth, and to uphold that, my witness will answer you immediately. I must agree with Miss Von Karma. It was a trap, what do you know? The defendant has the right to a swift trial, and having the witness testify now will facilitate that. Then we forfeit the right to a swift trial. Mr. Justice, if you think I'm going to tolerate these stalling tactics, then you are sorely mistaken. You and Mr. Wright have gone to great lengths to block justice and obscure the truth already. I'll be a plucked fool before I let something like that happen again. Bailiff, bring the prosecution's witness in. We will hear the witness's testimony now! You should have used reverse psychology, Apollo. How is this even happening? What makes the judge like Miss Von Karma so much more than us? Oh, like Miss Von Karma so much more than us. Suggestibility. Suggestibility? It's psychology. Von Karma's been a little blunt with it, but it's working on this judge. Von Karma keeps talking about the trial in ways that suggest villainy on part of the defense. Yeah. For any action we take, she has an explanation that puts us in a negative light. And anything she does, she accompanies with an innocent rationale. Like when I tried to ask Emma about the original trial's evidence, she made it seem like we were cheating. And when she denied us a reset, she made it seem like she was looking out for Avera's rights. All this suggests to the judge that we're not to be trusted, whether he's conscious of it or not. We didn't exactly need this whole explanation, Athena, but good work. Ah, dang it! Why does the judge have to be susceptible to this kind of suggestion? And why does Prosecutor Von Karma want her revenge so badly? All this, next time, on the Broken Turnabout. Why is she so angry about Mr. Wright breaking the system? I'll keep scanning her emotions to see if I can't find anything. Yeah, psychology, that's Athena's thing. Because, you know, psychology. Thanks, Athena. I'm just really worried about what will happen when that witness is brought in. I'm wondering if it's a new, completely custom-made witness or just a reused character. I just need to find one thing the judge and Von Karma can't ignore, and I'll be able to turn it all around. Von Karma might be ahead, but I just need to hold out a little longer. Oh my god! It's him? He's not dead yet? Well, you know what? This is a good stopping point. See y'all next time on the Broken Turnabout, with a testimony coming from everyone's favorite supervillain. Until then, though, bye-bye.